Captain Lisa Monroe stood on the bridge of her merchant ship, the Horizon's Edge. The stars outside looked peaceful, but Lisa knew better. She watched her alien co-pilot, Crix, study the navigation charts. Crix was a Zalarian, with blue scales, that shimmered under the ship's lights. His four eyes blinked one after another as he looked at the data. "This is strange, Captain," Crix said. His voice came through the translator device on his collar. "The map just stops here. There is nothing beyond this point." Lisa kept her face calm. She had seen this reaction many times before. Every alien who looked at the galactic maps had the same confusion, but none of them ever thought to ask why. The maps showed empty space, where human territory should be. It was as if the universe itself ended at the human border. "Must be empty space," Lisa said casually. "Nothing worth mapping out there." Crix nodded, accepting this explanation without question. His four eyes turned back to the controls. They were approaching Border Station 7, one of the few places where humans and aliens could meet and trade. Lisa had made this trip dozens of times, bringing Earth goods to trade for alien technology and resources. Meanwhile, far behind the invisible border, Commander Jake Sullivan sat in a hidden monitoring station orbiting Earth's moon. His job was one of the most important in human space. He watched every alien ship that came close to human territory. The room around him was filled with screens showing different views of space. Each screen tracked a different ship or station. Another trader approaching from the Zalarian Empire, his assistant, Lieutenant Beth Walker, reported. "They're following the usual route to Border Station 7. Jake nodded. Everything was going according to plan. For 50 years, humanity had maintained this illusion. The aliens thought humans only controlled one small system with a few border stations. They had no idea that behind the veil, 12 human colony systems were thriving. Billions of humans lived on worlds the aliens didn't even know existed. The secret was protected by humanity's greatest discovery. When humans first met aliens, they learned something incredible. Human brains worked on a different frequency than every other species in the galaxy. This unique brainwave pattern could influence alien minds when transmitted through special devices. It wasn't mind control exactly. It was more like a suggestion, a gentle push that made aliens simply not want to look too closely at human space. Jake watched as the quantum field generators powered up. These massive machines created false sensor readings that any alien ship would detect. Instead of seeing human colonies and fleets, alien instruments showed only cosmic dust and dangerous radiation. The few aliens who thought about exploring further suddenly found themselves losing interest, deciding it wasn't worth the risk. Back on the Horizon's Edge, Lisa guided her ship to the docking port of Border Station 7. The station was a marvel of human engineering, though it was designed to look simple and basic to alien eyes. The walls were plain metal, the technology seemed outdated, and the human staff wore simple uniforms that suggested a species just beginning to explore space. "Welcome back, Captain Monroe." The docking officer, a young man named Sam Peters, greeted her through the communication system. "Bay 3 is ready for you." As the ship docked, Lisa thought about what lay beyond the station. Just a few light years away, invisible to alien sensors, the fortress world of New Sparta housed humanity's main military fleet. 2,000 warships, each one more advanced than anything the aliens had seen, waited in hidden harbors. The shipyards of Liberty Prime worked day and night, building more vessels, developing new weapons, preparing for a day that might never come. The Galactic Council had welcomed humanity as a minor member species 50 years ago. They saw humans as harmless traders, a young species that had barely learned to travel between stars. The council members came to the border stations, traded their goods, and left without ever asking to see Earth or visit human worlds. The question simply never occurred to them. Lisa met with the Zalarian merchants in the station's trading hall. The lead merchant, a tall alien named Vorix, examined the containers of coffee beans she had brought. Coffee was one of Earth's most popular exports. Aliens loved it, though they had no idea how abundant it really was on the dozens of human agricultural worlds. "Excellent quality as always," Vorix said, his translator giving his words a mechanical tone. We offer 300 units of processed quantum crystals. Lisa pretended to consider this. In reality, the coffee had cost almost nothing to produce. The quantum crystals, on the other hand, were incredibly valuable for human technology. But she had to maintain the act. 350, she countered. 325, Vorix replied. Deal, Lisa agreed, shaking one of his 4 hands. As the trade was completed, Lisa noticed something odd. A young Krishari at another trading table kept looking around, his antennae twitching with curiosity. Most aliens who came to the border stations conducted their business and left quickly, influenced by the psychic field to not linger. But this one seemed different. She activated her hidden communicator, sending a coded message to Jake at the monitoring station. Possible anomaly at Station 7. Young Krishari showing unusual curiosity. Jake received the message immediately. He pulled up the station's security feeds and studied the alien in question. The Krishari was indeed acting strangely, taking readings with a personal scanner, asking questions about routes beyond the station. Beth, run a genetic scan on that Krishari, Jake ordered. Compare it to our database. Beth's fingers flew across her console. After a moment, she looked up with concern. Commander, he's showing markers for psychic resistance. It's rare, but some individuals are naturally immune to mental influence. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. This was exactly what they had always feared. If even one alien discovered the truth and reported back to the Galactic Council, everything would change. Humanity's 50 years of careful deception would crumble in an instant. Alert Protocol 7 team, Jake commanded. We may need to intervene. Back at the station, Lisa kept a careful eye on the curious Krishari while maintaining her conversation with Vorix. She had been trained for situations like this. Every human who worked at the border stations knew what to do if an alien showed signs of breaking through the psychic field. Is your young companion new to trading? Lisa asked Vorix casually, nodding toward the Krishari. Talix? Yes, this is his first journey beyond Krishari space, Vorix replied. Young ones are always so curious about the universe. He will learn to focus on business soon enough. Lisa smiled, but her mind was racing. A young alien on his first trip, naturally resistant to psychic influence, full of curiosity about the unknown. This was a dangerous combination. As the day continued, Lisa completed several more trades, all while watching Talix from the corner of her eye. The young Krishari purchased star charts from a human vendor, asking specifically about the regions beyond the border stations. The vendor, well trained in standard responses, simply told him there was nothing out there worth exploring. But Talix didn't seem satisfied with that answer. His antennae kept twitching, a sign of deep thought among his species. Lisa could see him making calculations on his personal device, comparing sensor readings with the official maps. That evening, as Lisa prepared to leave the station, she received another coded message from Jake. Talix's ship has been tagged. If he heads toward our space, we'll be ready. Lisa understood what that meant. Humanity had protocols for every scenario. If Talix tried to explore beyond the border, he would be intercepted, his memory carefully altered, his ship's logs edited. It had been done before, though rarely. Most aliens never got that far, stopped by the invisible barrier of psychic suggestion. As the horizon's edge departed from Border Station 7, Lisa looked back at the structure floating in space. To the aliens, it was the edge of human civilization, a small outpost of a weak species trying to find their place in the galaxy. They had no idea it was actually a carefully crafted illusion, a stage where humanity performed the role of harmless traders. Behind her, hidden by technology and psychic fields, 12 star systems buzzed with activity. Cities sprawled across, continents' orbital factories produced advanced technology, and military academies trained the next generation of humanity's defenders. 40 billion humans lived, worked, and thrived in space. The galaxy didn't even know existed. The map stopped at human space and no one questioned it, but Lisa knew that couldn't last forever. Someday, somehow, the truth would come out. And when that day came, humanity would need to be ready. For now, though, the secret held, protected by the greatest deception in galactic history. Dr. Amy Chen stood in her laboratory on Luna Base, surrounded by screens displaying brainwave patterns from a dozen different alien species. Each pattern moved in its own unique rhythm, like songs written in different languages. But they all shared one thing in common. They all responded to the frequency that humans naturally produced. Her colleague, Dr. Paul Harrison, walked in carrying 2 cups of coffee. He handed one to Amy and studied the screens with her. They had been working together for 10 years, ever. Since the discovery that changed everything, the subliminal frequency is still holding steady, Paul said, checking the latest readings. Every alien ship that passes through our border zones receives the same unconscious message. There's nothing interesting here. No need to investigate further. Amy took a sip of her coffee and remembered how this all started. It had been an accident. Really. During humanity's first contact with the Altarians, the human delegation had played music during a break in negotiations. Classical Earth music, nothing special. But the Altarian ambassadors had suddenly become incredibly agreeable, accepting trade terms that heavily favored humanity. At first, everyone thought it was just good negotiation, but then it happened again with the Zilarians, and again with the Voidwalkers. Every time human music played, alien minds became more open to suggestion. That's when the real research began. Scientists discovered that human brains operated on a unique frequency, something no other species in the galaxy possessed. It wasn't telepathy or mind control. It was more subtle than that. When properly amplified and broadcast, human brainwaves could plant suggestions in alien minds. Not commands, but gentle nudges that felt like their own thoughts. "Show me the test results from yesterday," Amy said. Paul pulled up a new set of data. "We exposed the Krishari volunteer to increasing levels of the psychic field. He reported feeling increasingly disinterested in the test chamber, even though we told him there was a reward inside. By level 7, he couldn't even remember why. He had wanted to enter in the first place." Amy nodded. The volunteer didn't know the real purpose of the test, of course. He thought he was helping humanity understand alien psychology for better trade relations. He had no idea he was helping them perfect their greatest secret weapon. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council's capital world of Centrum, Administrator Vex of the Navigation Guild was performing his monthly duties. The Altarian's tall, thin form bent over his holographic displays as he reviewed updates to the galactic maps. New trade routes, recently discovered systems, changes in territorial boundaries, all of it flowed past his 6 eyes. When he reached the section near human space, something interesting happened. His mind simply skipped over it. He didn't notice the skip. To him, it felt perfectly natural. The empty zone on the map didn't raise any questions, because the question never formed in his mind. The psychic field transmitted from hidden human. Satellites made sure of that. Vex approved the maps and sent them out to every ship in the galaxy. Billions of aliens would use these maps, and not one would wonder about the vast empty space near human territory. The suggestion was too subtle, too carefully crafted. It felt like common sense. Why would anyone explore empty space? There was nothing there. Back on Luna Base, Amy received a priority message from Earth Command. She read it twice, her expression growing concerned. Paul noticed immediately. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Remember that young Krishari from Border Station 7? Talix? He's showing immunity to the psychic field. His ship is heading directly toward Mars." Paul's face went pale. Mars was one of humanity's major colonies, with a population of 3 billion. If Talix saw it and reported back to the Galactic Council, their entire deception would collapse. "How is that possible?" Paul asked. "The field has worked on every alien for 50 years. Amy pulled up Talix's medical records, obtained through careful hacking of Krishari databases. "Look at this. He has a rare genetic mutation. It affects his neural pathways, makes them resistant to outside influence. We've seen it in about 1 in 10 million individuals, but this is the first time one has come this close to our space." They both knew what this meant. Humanity had contingency plans for this scenario, but they had hoped never to use them. Amy activated her emergency communication link to the Solar Defense Council. President Alan Mitchell appeared on the screen within seconds. His face showed the stress of leadership, the weight of protecting humanity's greatest secret. Behind him, Amy could see the Situation Room filling with advisors. "Dr. Chen, I understand we have a problem," the president said. "Yes, sir. The Krishari explorer Talix is immune to our psychic deterrent. He's currently on a direct course for Mars. At his current speed, he'll be in visual range in 6 hours." The president nodded grimly. "Colonel Rita Foster is already mobilizing an intercept team. Your job is to prepare a memory modification sequence specifically calibrated for his unique neural structure. Can you do it?" Amy looked at Paul, who was already pulling up their most advanced memory modification protocols. "We'll need to scan him directly to be sure, but yes, we can do it." "Good. Get to work. Humanity's future may depend on it." The screen went dark. Amy and Paul immediately began their preparations. They had developed memory modification technology years ago, another application of humanity's unique neural frequency. But using it on someone with natural immunity would be challenging. 3 hours later, Agent Carl Johnson stood in the briefing room of the stealth ship Whisper. His team of 6 specialists listened as he explained the mission. Each one had been selected for their unique skills. Betty Cooper, technology specialist; Sam Rodriguez, medical expert; Alice Gray, pilot; George Kim, communications; Mary Thompson, security; and Carl himself, team leader and negotiation expert. "Our target is a young Krishari explorer named Talix," Carl explained, showing an image of the insect-like alien on the screen. "He's immune to our standard psychic field and is currently heading directly for Mars. Our job is to intercept him, modify his memories, and send him back to galactic space with a believable story." Betty raised her hand. "What if the memory modification doesn't work? If he's immune to the psychic field, he might be immune to that too." Carl had been thinking the same thing. "Then we move to Plan B. We fake an emergency that forces him to return to the border station for repairs. While he's there, we use conventional means to convince him there's nothing worth exploring in this region. Radiation leaks, equipment, failures, whatever it takes." The team nodded. They all understood what was at stake. If aliens discovered humanity's true strength, everything would change. The Galactic Council might see humanity as a threat. Wars could break out. Billions of human lives hung in the balance. The Whisper launched from its hidden base on Luna, its stealth systems making it invisible to all known alien sensors. Alice pushed the engines to maximum, racing to intercept Talix before he could see anything that would reveal the truth. As they flew, Carl thought about the bigger picture. Humanity had spent 50 years building in secret. They had studied every major species in the Council, learned their weaknesses, mapped their defenses. Human technology had advanced far beyond what the aliens knew. Antimatter reactors, quantum tunneling drives, weapons that could destroy entire fleets. But it was all hidden, protected by the psychic field and careful deception. At the border stations, humans used outdated technology, flew slow ships, acted like a species that had barely learned to travel between stars. It was the greatest performance in history, and 40 billion humans were counting on it to continue. On his small scout ship, Talix felt excitement building in his chest. His instruments were detecting something strange ahead, energy readings that didn't match empty space. His people, the Krishari, were natural explorers. They had mapped more of the galaxy than any other species, and now Talix had found something everyone else had missed. He adjusted his sensors, trying to get a clearer reading. There was definitely something there. Something big. Multiple somethings, actually. His antennae twitched with anticipation. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. Unknown aliens, ancient technology, natural phenomena never before observed. Talix began recording everything, preparing a data packet to send back to the Krishari Science Academy. But first he wanted to see it with his own eyes. He pushed his engines harder, eager to solve this mystery. Back on the Whisper, Betty monitored Talix's communications. He hasn't sent anything yet, but he's preparing a data packet. We need to intercept him in the next hour or it'll be too late. Carl made a decision. Alice, emergency burn. Push the engines past safe limits if you have to. Alice's fingers danced across her controls. The Whisper surged forward, its experimental engines straining. They had to reach Talix before he saw the Mars colonies, before he saw the orbital shipyards, before he saw the truth that would change everything. The race was on. One curious alien against humanity's best kept secret. The future of two civilizations hung in the balance, and neither the Galactic Council nor most of humanity even knew it was happening. Talix's antennae twitched with excitement as his instruments detected massive energy signatures ahead. His small scout ship, the Starseeker, had never registered readings like this. Whatever lay beyond the supposed empty space was enormous. Cities, stations, maybe even entire fleets. His discovery would make him famous throughout the Krishari collective. He began composing his transmission to the Science Academy. "This is Explorer Talix aboard the Starseeker. I have discovered something extraordinary in the empty zone near human space. Sending coordinates and initial sensor data now." His finger hovered over the transmit button. Once he sent this message, every scientist in Krishari space would know. The news would spread to the Galactic Council within days. But something made him hesitate. Maybe he should get visual confirmation first. After all, the greatest explorers always verified their discoveries before announcing them. On the stealth ship Whisper, Agent Carl Johnson watched the distance counter tick down. They were close now, but not close enough. Talix's ship was still 30 minutes from visual range of Mars, and they were 35 minutes behind him. "He's slowing down," Betty Cooper announced from her station. "His sensors must be getting overwhelmed by all the hidden infrastructure." Carl felt a moment of hope. "Can we catch him before he sees anything?" Alice Gray, their pilot, shook her head. "Not at standard acceleration. But if I push the engines to emergency overload, maybe. It'll damage the ship, though." "Do it," Carl ordered without hesitation. A damaged ship they could repair, a blown cover they couldn't. The Whisper's engines screamed as Alice pushed them beyond their limits. The ship shuddered, racing through space at speeds that made the hull groan. Everyone strapped in tighter, knowing this would be rough. Back on Luna Base, Dr. Amy Chen and Dr. Paul Harrison worked frantically on their memory modification protocols. They had Talix's brain scan data from his last medical exam, obtained through careful espionage. But his immune neural structure made everything more complicated. "The standard memory wipe won't work," Paul said, frustrated. "His brain has natural barriers we've never seen before." Amy studied the data, her mind racing. "Then we don't wipe. We overlay. We create false memories so vivid, so detailed, that his real memories seem like dreams or hallucinations." "That's never been tested," Paul warned. "We're out of options," Amy replied. She began coding the new protocol, her fingers flying across the holographic keyboard. They had minutes, not hours, to get this right. President Alan Mitchell stood in the Solar Defense Council's war room, watching multiple screens showing the developing situation. His advisors surrounded him, each one reporting from their department. "If Talix transmits his findings, how long before the Galactic Council investigates?" he asked Secretary of Defense Gloria Adams. "Based on our intelligence, maybe 3 days for the first scout ships, a week for a full investigative fleet," Gloria replied. "We could claim it's all new development, that we've suddenly expanded, but they'd be suspicious." Admiral Fred Barnes stepped forward. "Mr. President, I recommend we prepare for the worst. If our cover is blown, we need to be ready for potential hostile reactions. I'm putting the fleet on silent alert." The President nodded. 2,000 human warships began powering up their weapon systems, all while maintaining sensor silence. If the galaxy discovered humanity's deception, they would find humanity ready for whatever came next. Talix couldn't believe what his instruments were showing. The energy signatures were multiplying. This wasn't just a hidden station or two. This was an entire civilization. How had everyone missed this? How had the surveys shown empty space? He moved closer, eager to get visual confirmation. His ship's computer warned him about radiation levels, but they were within acceptable limits. Just a few more minutes, and he would see with his own eyes. what the sensors were detecting. Suddenly, proximity alarms screamed. A ship appeared out of nowhere, directly in his path. Talix yanked his controls, barely avoiding a collision. His heart pounded as he spun his ship around, trying to understand what had happened. The ship that had appeared was unlike anything in the galactic database. Sleek, dark, with lines that seemed to bend light around them. It wasn't attacking, just sitting there, blocking his path forward. "Unknown vessel, this is Explorer Talix of the Krishari Collective," he transmitted. "You are not registered in any database. Please identify yourself." Inside the whisper, Carl Johnson took a deep breath. This was it, the moment that would determine humanity's future. He activated the communication system, speaking in perfect Krishari thanks to his translation implant. "Explorer Talix, this is Rescue Vessel Whisper. We detected your ship experiencing severe radiation exposure. Your sensors appear to be malfunctioning, giving false readings. We're here to help." Talix checked his instruments. The radiation levels were rising rapidly now, far beyond what they had been moments ago. Warning lights flashed across his console. How had he not noticed this before? "My sensors were working perfectly," Talix protested. But even as he said it, doubt crept in. The radiation levels were dangerously high now. His ship's shields were struggling. Betty Cooper worked her magic, from her station on the Whisper, using targeted electromagnetic pulses to create the illusion of radiation on Talix's sensors. She also introduced subtle errors into his navigation system, making his recorded coordinates unreliable. "Explorer Talix, you need to dock with us immediately," Carl said with urgency in his voice. "That radiation will cook you alive in minutes. We have medical facilities on board." Talix hesitated. Something felt wrong about this situation, but the radiation alarms were getting louder, more insistent. His training kicked in. Survival first, questions later. He guided his small ship to dock with the strange vessel. As soon as the ships connected, Carl's team moved into action. Sam Rodriguez, the medical expert, was first through the airlock, scanner in hand. He had to make this look legitimate. "Severe radiation exposure," Sam announced, playing his role perfectly. "We need to get you to medical immediately." Talix found himself rushed through corridors by humans in what looked like emergency medical gear. They brought him to a medical bay where Sam immediately began treatment. The injection Sam gave him was real medicine for radiation exposure, but it also contained nanobots designed to make Talix more susceptible to memory modification. While Sam worked, Carl sat beside Talix, playing the role of concerned rescuer. "You're lucky we were passing through. This region is notorious for radiation storms. They play havoc with sensors, make them show all sorts of things that aren't there." "But I saw energy signatures," Talix insisted. "Massive ones. Cities, maybe. Fleets." Carl nodded sympathetically. "The radiation does that. Creates false readings that look incredibly real. We've seen it happen to dozens of explorers. The Galactic Council really should put stronger warnings on the maps." As they talked, Betty worked on Talix's ship, carefully editing the sensor logs and navigation data. She replaced his genuine discoveries with records showing equipment failure and radiation-induced hallucinations. The work had to be perfect. If even one piece of real data survived, it could expose everything. George Kim monitored communications, making sure Talix hadn't transmitted anything before they intercepted him. So far, they were clear. The message about his discovery sat in his ship's buffer, unsent. George carefully deleted it, replacing it with a standard exploration log that mentioned nothing unusual. Back on Luna, Amy and Paul watched through secure video feeds as their memory modification protocol was uploaded to the medical station. The nanobots in Talix's system would help deliver the new memories directly to his neurons, bypassing his natural immunity. "Initiating memory overlay," Sam reported quietly through his earpiece. Talix felt drowsy suddenly. Sam had told him it was medication for the radiation, but his thoughts were becoming fuzzy. Images flashed through his mind. His ship's sensors malfunctioning. Radiation alarms blaring from the start. The helpful human rescue ship appearing just in time. It all seemed so clear now. How had he been so confused? The real memories fought back. Talix's unique neural structure resisted the modification. For a moment, two sets of memories warred in his mind. The truth and the lie, equally vivid, equally real. Carl noticed Talix's distress. The Krishari's antennae were twitching erratically, a sign of neural conflict. They were losing him. If the memory modification failed, they would have to move to more drastic measures. Carl didn't want to think about what those measures might be. Increase the overlay intensity, Amy commanded from Luna. His resistance is stronger than expected. Sam adjusted the medical equipment, pumping more nanobots into Talix's system. The Krishari's breathing became labored. His forearms twitched. This was dangerous. Too much modification could cause permanent brain damage. Mary Thompson, the security specialist, stood ready with a stun weapon. If Talix broke free before the modification was complete, she would have to subdue him. But that would make everything more complicated. An injured alien would raise questions. Finally, after what felt like hours but was really just minutes, Talix's breathing steadied. His antennae stopped twitching. When he opened his compound eyes, they showed confusion but not suspicion. What happened? He asked weakly. President Alan Mitchell stood before the assembled Solar Defense Council in the secure bunker beneath New Geneva, Earth's capital city. The room was filled with humanity's most powerful leaders, each one responsible for protecting the greatest secret in human history. The holographic displays around them showed star maps, fleet positions, and population statistics that no alien had ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, the president began, his voice heavy with the weight of decision. The Talix incident has shown us that our deception cannot last forever. We need to discuss our long-term strategy. Secretary of Defense Gloria Adams was the first to speak. Mr. President, our current population across all hidden colonies has reached 40 billion. We're running out of room. The 12 systems we've been hiding can't support much more growth without expanding infrastructure that would be impossible to hide. Admiral Fred Barnes pulled up a holographic display showing humanity's true territory. We have 2,000 warships ready for deployment, antimatter reactors that could power entire alien civilizations, and quantum tunneling technology that would revolutionize galactic travel. We're hiding strength that surpasses most council species. The question is, how long do we keep pretending to be weak? Dr. Amy Chen, who had been invited to the meeting after her success with the Talix incident, raised her hand. My research shows the psychic field will remain effective for perhaps another century. But as species evolve, more individuals like Talix will emerge. We're seeing about 1 immune individual per year now. In a decade, it could be 10. In 50 years, hundreds. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. They all knew what it meant. The clock was ticking on humanity's grand deception. General Robert Clay, head of Colonial Defense, stood up. I propose we begin a controlled revelation. We gradually discover new systems, present them as recent colonization efforts. We slowly reveal our true territory over the coming decades, making it seem like natural expansion rather than hidden strength. That could work, agreed Maria Santos, Director of Alien Intelligence. Our spies in the Galactic Council report no suspicion about our current borders. If we expand slowly, claiming to have found ideal colony worlds just beyond our current space, they might accept it. President Mitchell nodded thoughtfully. How slowly are we talking? 1 new system every 5 years, General Clay suggested. Start with the outer colonies, the ones furthest from alien observation. Present them as brave colonization efforts, humanity pushing into dangerous space. It fits with what they expect from a young species. What about our technology? Asked Professor Harold Green, Chief Science Advisor. We can't hide antimatter reactors and quantum drives forever. Eventually, we'll need to reveal those too. Amy spoke up again. We could discover these technologies gradually, present them as recent breakthroughs. The aliens already think humans are innovative traders. It wouldn't be suspicious for us to suddenly have a scientific revolution. The debate continued for hours. Some argued for maintaining the deception as long as possible. Others wanted to reveal everything and deal with the consequences, but most supported the gradual revelation plan. It was safer, more controlled, and gave humanity time to prepare for whatever reaction might come. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council capital world of Centrum, something unexpected was happening. The ancient sovereign, oldest and wisest member of the council, was having a private meeting with the Altarian ambassador Zix. The sovereign's crystalline form pulsed with colors that indicated amusement. "The humans think they're so clever," the sovereign communicated telepathically. Zix's 6 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of confusion. "What do you mean, sovereign?" "Their empty space on the maps, their psychic field, their hidden worlds." The sovereign's colors shifted to deeper purples. "They truly believe they're deceiving us." Zix's thin form went rigid with shock. "You know about their deception?" "We have always known," the sovereign replied. "Did you think a psychic field could truly affect a being as old as I? I felt their influence the moment they began broadcasting it. Crude, but effective on younger minds." "But why haven't we exposed them?" Zix asked. The sovereign's form brightened. "Tell me, Ambassador, what do your people hide in the Altarian? Nebula? The region your maps claim is too dangerous to navigate?" Zix's pale skin flushed purple, the Altarian equivalent of embarrassment. "I don't know what you mean." 3 hidden military bases and a population of 6 billion, the sovereign stated simply. "You've been hiding them for 200 years. Zix said nothing, but his 6 eyes darted nervously. "And the Zalarians," the sovereign continued, "hide 60% of their fleet in dark space between systems. The Voidwalkers have technology that could destroy stars, carefully concealed from council inspection. Every species in this galaxy keeps secrets, Ambassador. The humans are simply the newest players in an ancient game." "But their deception is so extensive," Zix protested weakly. "Indeed. And that's what makes them interesting." The sovereign's colors shifted to warm golds. "They came to the galaxy as traders, seemingly weak and harmless. But they observed, learned, and built their strength in secret. In 50 years, they've achieved what took your people 3 centuries. That kind of ambition, that kind of clever deception, it reminds me of ourselves when we were young." Zix absorbed this information in stunned silence. The political implications were staggering. "Does the rest of the council know?" "Some suspect, others choose not to see, and many genuinely don't know." The sovereign pulsed thoughtfully. "The galaxy is built on polite fictions, Ambassador. We all pretend not to see each other's secrets because exposing them would mean exposing our own." Back on Earth, President Mitchell had made his decision. "We proceed with the gradual revelation plan. In 6 months, we discover the Haven system, presented as a new colony, recently established. We show some advanced technology, but nothing too threatening." Gloria Adams nodded. "I'll prepare the fleet for potential hostile reactions just in case, and I'll adjust the psychic field to make the discovery seem more believable," Amy added. As the meeting concluded, President Mitchell remained behind with Admiral Barnes. "Fred, I need to ask you something privately. If the aliens discovered everything tomorrow, our full strength, all our deceptions, could we win a war against the Galactic Council?" Admiral Barnes was quiet for a long moment. "Against 1 or 2 species? Yes, against the entire council? It would be close. We have technological advantages they don't know about, but they have numbers. Hundreds of species, thousands of worlds. It would be a bloodbath on both sides." "Then we must ensure it never comes to that," the president said firmly. Over the following weeks, humanity began preparing for their gradual revelation. Colony ships were retrofitted to look newly built. Historical records were fabricated to support the story of recent expansion. The psychic field was adjusted to make aliens more accepting of humanity's sudden growth. On Haven Colony, previously hidden for 50 years, Governor Ellen Price received orders to prepare for alien visitors. The colony of 500 million humans had to be made to look like a fresh settlement of just a few thousand. Entire cities were hidden underground. Advanced technology was replaced with basic equipment. It was like preparing for the universe's most important theatrical performance. Captain Lisa Monroe, now promoted to Commodore, was chosen to lead the Discovery mission. Her ship, still called Horizon's Edge but secretly upgraded with humanity's best technology, would publicly find the Haven system and report it to the Galactic Council as a wonderful site for a new human colony. The plan was intricate, requiring coordination across dozens of worlds and billions of people. Every human understood their role in the grand deception. Children were taught from birth about the importance of the secret. It was part of human culture now, this shared conspiracy against the galaxy. But not everyone agreed with the gradual revelation plan. A group of military hardliners, led by Colonel Raymond Steele, believed humanity should reveal everything at once, from a position of strength. They met in secret, planning for what they called Revelation Day, when humanity would show its true power to the galaxy. "We're living a lie," Colonel Steele told his followers. "We're strong enough to stand as equals to any council species. Why should we hide?" His words found sympathy among younger military officers who had never known a time when humanity wasn't secretly powerful. They had trained for wars that never came, commanded ships that never left hidden harbors. The frustration was building. Amy Chen detected unusual patterns in the psychic field, signs of internal human resistance to their own deception. She reported this to President Mitchell immediately. "We have a problem," she told him. "Some of our own people are fighting against the psychic field. They want to reveal everything." The president's face darkened. "Colonel Steele?" "Most likely. His psychological profile shows increasing frustration with our deception strategy." This was a complication they hadn't anticipated. The greatest threat to humanity's secret might not be curious aliens, but impatient humans. President Mitchell ordered increased surveillance on Colonel Steele's group, hoping to prevent them from doing something that would expose everything. As Earth's sun set over New Geneva, President Mitchell stood at his window. 5 years had passed since the Talix incident. Commodore Lisa Monroe, now Admiral Monroe, stood on the bridge of humanity's first openly acknowledged deep space vessel, the Discovery. It was a magnificent ship, designed to look impressive, but not threatening to alien eyes. In reality, it was equipped with hidden weapons and shields that could destroy a small fleet. But the Galactic Council saw only what humanity wanted them to see. The gradual revelation plan had worked perfectly. Humanity had discovered 3 new systems over the past 5 years, each one presented as a bold colonization effort into previously unexplored space. The aliens had celebrated humanity's growth, welcoming what they saw as a young species finally finding its courage to expand. Today, Admiral Monroe was attending a diplomatic meeting on the Council world of Centrum. It was supposed to be a routine gathering to discuss trade routes and territory boundaries. She had no idea that everything was about to change. The council chambers were magnificent, a crystal dome that showed the stars above while representatives from hundreds of species gathered. Below, Admiral Monroe took her place at the human delegation table, a deliberately modest spot near the edge of the room. Humanity still played the role of a minor species, grateful for any attention from their betters. As the meeting began, discussing various bureaucratic matters, a request for private audience appeared on Monroe's personal communicator. It was from the Sovereign, the ancient crystalline being who led the council. Such requests were extraordinarily rare. Monroe's heart began to race. She excused herself quietly and made her way to the Sovereign's private chambers. The room was unlike anything else on Centrum, filled with a soft light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The Sovereign floated in the center, its crystalline form shifting through colors humans didn't have names for. "Admiral Monroe?" The Sovereign's voice resonated directly in her mind, bypassing her universal translator. "Please sit. We have much to discuss." Monroe sat on what appeared to be a chair made of solid light. "It's an honor, Sovereign. How may humanity serve the Council?" The Sovereign's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Such careful words, Admiral. Such precise deception. Tell me, how many warships does humanity truly possess?" Monroe's blood turned to ice, but her training kicked in. Show no reaction, deny everything. "I'm not sure what you mean, Sovereign." Our fleet registry is public record, 12 patrol vessels and 30 merchant ships. Please, Admiral, let us dispense with the performance. The Sovereign's colors shifted to deeper blues. I know about your 2,000 warships, your antimatter reactors, your quantum tunneling technology, your 40 billion citizens spread across 12 hidden systems. Monroe's mind raced. This was it. The moment they had always feared. Discovery, exposure, potential war. But she had to try one more denial. I think there's been some misunderstanding, Admiral. The Sovereign's tone carried gentle reproach. I have known since the day your people first broadcast their psychic field. Did you truly think a being of my age and experience would be affected by such crude mental manipulation? Monroe realized there was no point in continuing the charade. How long have you known? From the beginning. The moment humanity appeared, with your convenient border stations and your suspicious lack of interest in expanding further. It was quite clever, actually. Most species took centuries to develop such elaborate deceptions. Why didn't you expose us? Monroe asked, genuine confusion in her voice. The Sovereign's form brightened considerably. Would you like to know a secret, Admiral? Every species in this council hides something. The Altarians conceal 3 systems and 6 billion citizens. The Zolarians hide most of their military fleet. The Voidwalkers possess weapons that could crack planets, though they pretend to be pacifists. Monroe sat in stunned silence as the Sovereign continued. The galaxy is not what it appears to be, Admiral. It is not a community of honest species, sharing everything openly. It is a careful dance of powers, each maintaining their own secrets, each respecting others' deceptions. We don't question the empty space on your maps because everyone has empty spaces on their maps. But the younger species, they don't know. They genuinely believe, Monroe started. Indeed, the newer members play the game without knowing they're playing. They will learn in time as you have learned. The Sovereign pulsed thoughtfully. Tell me, Admiral, what do you know of the Great Silence? Monroe shook her head. I've never heard of it. 3,000 years ago, a species called the Dominion revealed everything. Their full military might, their hidden worlds, their advanced technology. They demanded the galaxy acknowledge them as supreme rulers. Do you know what happened? No, Monroe admitted. Every other species revealed their secrets too. The wars that followed killed trillions. Entire species were wiped out. Planets were turned to ash. It took 500 years for the galaxy to recover. That's when we established the current system. Everyone keeps their secrets. Everyone maintains the balance. And everyone pretends not to notice. Monroe understood now. So our deception actually maintains galactic peace? In a way, yes. By hiding your strength, you prevent arms races. By appearing weak, you avoid triggering defensive alliances against you. And by respecting others' secrets, you ensure they respect yours. But we've been planning to gradually reveal our colonies, Monroe said. The Sovereign's colors shifted to warm golds. A wise choice. Gradual revelation maintains the fiction that you're growing naturally. It prevents panic, prevents preemptive strikes from fearful neighbors. Continue with your plan, Admiral. In a century or two, humanity's true territory will be on all the maps, and everyone will politely pretend they hadn't noticed it was always there. Monroe had one more question. Do the other council members know what you know? Some suspect. The older species almost certainly know or guess. The younger ones believe what they see, and that's how it must remain. The Sovereign moved closer, its crystalline form towering over her. But I wanted to speak with you for another reason. Changes are coming to the galaxy, new threats from beyond our borders. We will need humanity's hidden strength soon. What kind of threats? Monroe asked. Explorers have detected massive fleets moving in from the void between galaxies, unknown species with unknown intentions. When they arrive, the polite fictions may need to end. We may need every hidden fleet, every secret weapon, every concealed colony working together. Monroe felt the weight of this revelation. When? Perhaps 50 years. Perhaps less. Time enough for humanity to discover more of your territory. Time enough to gradually reveal more of your technology. When the crisis comes, your true strength won't be a shocking betrayal, but a welcome surprise. As Monroe prepared to leave, the Sovereign had one final message. Tell your president that humanity has played the game exceptionally well for such a young species. We look forward to seeing what you're truly capable of when the masks finally come off. Monroe returned to the council chambers in a daze. Everything she thought she knew about galactic politics had been wrong. Humanity wasn't deceiving innocent neighbors. They were participating in an ancient dance of mutual deception that kept the peace. Back on Earth, President Mitchell listened to Monroe's report with a mixture of relief and concern. The recording of her conversation with the Sovereign was played for the entire Solar Defense Council. "So we continue as planned?" asked Secretary Gloria Adams. "It seems so," the President replied. "But now we know we're not alone in our deception. Everyone is hiding something." Dr. Amy Chen spoke up from her position by hologram. "This explains some anomalies I've detected. The psychic field sometimes encounters resistance from certain species, but they never investigate further. They're actively choosing to ignore it." Admiral Fred Barnes leaned forward. "What about this external threat the Sovereign mentioned? Should we begin preparing?" Quietly, President Mitchell decided. "We continue the gradual revelation of our colonies, but we also begin fortifying our hidden systems. If something is coming from outside the galaxy, we need to be ready." Over the following months, humanity's perspective shifted completely. They watched council meetings with new eyes, noticing how the Altarians never discussed certain sectors of their space, how the Zalarians' military reports were obviously incomplete, how the Voidwalkers deflected any questions about their research stations. Colonel Raymond Steele's hardliner faction dissolved when they learned the truth. There was no need for a dramatic revelation because everyone already knew, or chose not to know, which amounted to the same thing. The game was more complex than anyone had imagined. 10 years passed. Humanity discovered 6 more systems, each revelation carefully orchestrated and met with supposedly surprised congratulations from the Council. Human technology gradually improved in public, matching what they had possessed in secret for decades. Then the day came when the external threat arrived. Massive ships, each one the size of a moon, appeared at the galaxy's edge. They sent no communications, responded to no hails. They simply advanced, consuming resources from every system they passed. The Sovereign called an emergency session of the Council. But this time, it was different. "The time for secrets has ended," the Sovereign